While we may think that people rule this planet, animals aren't too far behind. Join us as we explore some islands that are entirely ran by animals. Chicken Island in Hawaii. Now, if you're looking to make an omelet during your vacation to Hawaii, chances are you don't really have to look too far for an egg or two. That's because Kauai is known for its massive population of wild, free-roaming chickens. Scientists have taken an interest to these chickens because they're not really your run-of-the-mill poultry. Recent findings suggest that the population consists of a mix of either regular chickens that escaped during catastrophic events like hurricanes and hybrids of chickens, those who were ancestors to settlers brought from Polynesia a few hundred years ago. On other islands in Hawaii, mongooses are responsible for keeping feral chicken populations under control. However, because the chickens in Kauai don't have any predators lurking around, they have completely taken over the island. What's even more amazing is that over time, they become accustomed to surviving on island bugs, cat food, tourist leftovers, and even garbage. But I'm guessing they probably don't really make for the best tasting dish on the island. They are, however, cage-free and most likely organic. Cape Town, Pennsylvania, Seal Island. While this small 5-acre island just off the coast of Cape Town is nothing but a glorified rock pile, lots of Cape fur seals and a few seabirds do call it home. The island is virtually useless as it's incapable of growing any kind of plant life, and the only man-made structure ever built on the island was a World War II radar that was destroyed by storms. Today, the island is completely inhabited by seals and birds, and there are a few things just as fun as watching seals play in their natural habitat, but humans aren't the only ones who love these fun, carefree, puppy-faced creatures. That's because great white sharks love them too, but for other reasons. The sharks continually circle the water surrounding the island, a practice known as the Ring of Death, all in hopes that a seal will make a fatal move. In fact, that's part of the reason why tourists love the location so much. Not only do they enjoy watching the seals play and sunbathe, but they'll wait in anticipation for a great white to lunge out of the water and snatch one in its jaws, because they're a bunch of sick freaks. Therefore, if you adore seals, you may actually want to stay away from Seal Island and its merciless Ring of Death. The Bahamas Pig Island. If you love curly-tailed, long-snouted piggies, then you'll love Pig Island, which is located in the Exuma section of the Bahamas. The island is uninhabited, except of course for the 25 swine. But these are not really your average wild boars. They just look like they're domesticated pigs. Unlike the barnyard pigs, however, they've become accustomed to island life, and rumor has it that sailors left the pigs on the island in hopes of eating them when they returned. However, others speculate that they're just survivors of a shipwreck. Regardless of how they got there, they're actually doing quite well for themselves. Their food source consists of the unusable leftovers that ships throw overboard, along with scraps from tourists who can't resist their begging eyes. While they are adorable, they are bold. So if you're in a small boat, you might want to keep your distance, as they're not above jumping in to steal your sandwich. And when they're not eating, they spend their days lying around in the sun and splashing in the crystal clear Caribbean water. You can even visit the pigs on the beach, known as Pig Beach, and swim with them if you so desire. Just be sure that you leave your snacks at home if you don't plan on sharing them. Toshiro, Japan, Cat Island. The animal island on our list is every crazy cat lady's dream. Toshiro is so overrun with feral cats that the population of cats actually outnumbers the population of people. Over the years, the human population of 1,000 has dwindled down to 100 as the cat population continues to increase. It makes sense though, because if my town started smelling like cat urine, I'd probably want to move away too. But that's not actually the case at all. The islanders don't really view them as a nuisance. In fact, they consider the cats to be their good luck charms, so they take really well care of them. Legend has it that Toshiro farmers used to raise silkworms, but the island mice would eat the worms. Therefore, they released the cats to kill the mice. In the 1800s, the population began growing, and local fishermen started saying that they were good luck. They even built dedicated shrines to the furry four-legged islanders, and also built cat-shaped homes to house many of the tourists that flocked to the island to visit the felines. Gough Island, the Mouse Island. Now, by the looks of it, Gough Island, which is located in the Atlantic Ocean, could actually use a few visitors from Cat Island, because it's completely overrun by mice. While mice are kind of cute and are often kept as pets, the mice on this island are what nightmares are made of. The first few mice that appeared on the island scampered off of a whaling ship in the 1800s. And if you know anything about mice, you also know that they reproduce at an alarming rate. At first, they foraged for seeds and ate insects, which doesn't really sound too bad. However, then they began to change, kind of like in James Patterson's Zoo. That's because they started taking a fancy to seabird chicks and began eating them alive. Even though the chicks are significantly bigger than the mice, they can't defend themselves against the small carnivorous beasts. Since the adult seabirds aren't accustomed to protecting their young, most of the babies never see adulthood, thus threatening the existence of the rare bird. The mice's appetite isn't the only thing that's gotten bigger. The mice themselves keep getting bigger as well. But things are looking up. Scientists and researchers began implementing an eradication program. And in 2019, they plan to drop nearly 93,000 pounds of cereal-like mouse poison in hopes of finally taking out the species that has plagued the island for over 100 years. Until then, if you scream at the sight of a mouse in your house, you probably don't want to go anywhere near Mouse Island. Monkey Island, Puerto Rico. For some people, Cayo Santiago is an island in Puerto Rico whose only inhabitants are nearly 1,000 monkeys. And that may sound awesome, but for others, it's a little more like Planet of the Apes. In 1938, researchers imported approximately 400 monkeys from India in the name of science. And that monkey population has been growing ever since. Today, the island still serves as a research base for several universities, but if you want to pay a visit, you're going to need to view it from afar. That's because you are likely to contract herpes type B. Better safe than sorry, really. Plus, if you come back from an exotic vacation with an STD, chances are that no one's going to believe it came from petting a monkey. Okunoshima, Japan, Rabbit Island. Now, if you're an avid small game hunter, Rabbit Island, also known as Okunoshima Island in Japan, might seem like heaven to you. But unfortunately, hunting rabbits on Rabbit Island is strictly prohibited, which might explain the large bunny population. Here's a little backstory. During World War II, the island housed a factory that once manufactured confidential chemical weapons. So, how exactly did an island where poison gas once stood become overrun with adorable bunnies? Well, some think that after the factory closed, the rabbits that were used for testing were then set free. I mean, what else would you do with a bunch of unsocialized, potentially radioactive rabbits? However, others believe that the rabbits were released to the interest of tourism, especially considering that the rabbits get more visitors than the island's poison gas museum. Given that they don't really have any predators on the island, they literally multiplied like rabbits. Unlike wild rabbits, however, fluffles of these furry critters wander the streets and are clearly not afraid of people. They welcome the attention. In fact, if you don't give them enough attention, they may actually chase you down. And if you have a cat or a dog, you better leave them at home, because they, along with your rabbit hunting equipment, will be confiscated and are not allowed on the island. So if you're sad, head on over to Rabbit Island and roll around with some fluffy bunnies, because it might be the pick-me-up you need. Queimada Grande, Snake Island. If the slithering, legless, cold-blooded reptiles aren't really your thing, then you're gonna want to stay away from Queimada Grande, also known as Snake Island. Actually, even if you are a fan of snakes, you might want to consider vacationing somewhere else. Snake Island is home to a large population of snakes, but not just any kind of snake. The golden Lancehead viper, which is one of the deadliest venomous snakes on Earth, calls this island its home. There's approximately 1 to 5 snakes for every square meter on the 110-acre island, and that means that it's likely a pit viper is within 3 feet of you at any given moment. While they likely won't hunt you down, they may fatally strike you if they feel threatened. Why someone just hasn't doused the island in gasoline and lit a match is beyond me at this point. Assateague Island, Maryland, Virginia, Horse Island. Chances are there's a small population of you out there who may have an equine fetish. Maybe at Halloween you dress in a horse head. If so, you want to pay a visit to the 37-mile-long island that sits between Maryland and Virginia called Assateague. The only inhabitants are a herd of wild horses, but they aren't the usual wild ponies that you'll find in the western parts of the US. That's because they're feral descendants of a domesticated horse. Stories claim that the first horses that ever lived on the island were actually survivors of a shipwreck, and that there may even be washed-up remains of the Spanish ship hidden in the sand. Others claim that the colonists in the 17th century introduced the horses to the island. No matter how they got there, it's amazing that they're still around today. Assateague Island isn't the easiest place to live on. The island endures frequent heavy storms and doesn't have a whole lot of food to offer. So, the 300 horses have definitely proved that they're a hardy herd. Since the island sits between Virginia and Maryland, there's a fence that divides the island between the two states. Maryland chooses to leave the horses alone, but if you want your very own wild horse, you're going to want to head over to Virginia for their annual horse-bidding wars. Each year, they isolate half of their horse population and force them to swim across the water, putting them up for auction where the bidder can decide if they want to take them home or just simply return them to the island. However, be warned, if you decide to take one home, remember, she probably won't be too happy. But then again, neither would most people if you forcefully remove them from Stud Island. Kittens! No, we're not talking about lions or tigers. We're talking about the average domestic house cat. That's right, that adorable little fur devil sitting on the back of your couch has the ability to murder you, because it's the spawn of Beelzebub himself. Don't worry, your cat isn't going to maul you to death. They'll likely just infect you with a murderous parasite, and you're going to